for some very brave and capable Afghan special forces units and soldiers. But if Afghanistan is unable to mount any real resistance to the Taliban now, there is no chance that 1 year, 1 more year, 5 more years, or 20 more years of U.S. military boots on the ground would have made any difference. And here's what I believe to my core. It is wrong to order American troops to step up when Afghanistan's own armed forces would not. If the political leaders of Afghanistan were unable to come together for the good of their people, unable to negotiate for the future of their country when the chips were down, they would never have done so while U.S. troops remained in Afghanistan, bearing the brunt of the fighting for them. And our true strategic competitors, China and Russia, would love nothing more than the United States to continue to funnel billions of dollars in resources and attention into stabilizing Afghanistan indefinitely. When I hosted President Ghani and Chairman Abdullah at the White House in June, and again when I spoke by phone to Ghani in July, we had very frank conversations. We talked about how Afghanistan should prepare to fight their civil wars after the U.S. military departed, to clean up the corruption in government so the government could function for the Afghan people. We talked extensively about the need for Afghan leaders to unite politically. They fail to do any of that. I also urged them to engage in diplomacy, to seek a political settlement with the Taliban. This advice was flatly refused. Mr. Ghani insisted that the Afghan forces would fight, but obviously he was wrong. So I'm left again to ask of those who argue that we should stay, how many more generations of America's daughters and sons would you have me send to fight Afghanistan's civil war?
Okay, we're going to leave it there. The US President Joe Biden addressing the disaster that is Afghanistan at the moment, and pretty surprising comments. My take of that is washing his hands of what happened. And I mean, you send troops into a country like Afghanistan, I believe you have a moral obligation to the people, and they've now just abandoned the people of Afghanistan.
Well, this is what he's abandoning. You know, and this is what should never have happened. He said that they were taken by surprise. I don't know how you're taken by surprise with all the intelligence they have over there. But he has an obligation to get Americans out. He has an obligation to get Afghans out who worked for the Americans and for the Allies in rebuilding the nation. He said we shouldn't have been there nation building. What do you do when you take over a country?
But it was America who changed that.
Setting up a democracy. He went on to say that. Well, what do you do? I mean, you're there, you've invaded a country, and you're now trying to make it better. That flies in the face of everything that any US president has said. And this is the thing that surprises me about what he said. Getting out, we have no obligation. We do not have to worry about these Afghan forces. They just rolled over. Bad luck. See you later, fellas. It's your country now. I mean, I think that's gobsmacking. That's a gobsmacking statement. It's a heartless statement when you think about the women and the children who are being left there now. What is their future? He hasn't even addressed it.
And if you think of all the, you know, the Afghan refugees in Australia here who've still got families stuck in Afghanistan, watching that this morning, hoping for some sign of hope that their loved ones will be rescued, you got none of that just there.
We also don't know how we're going to get our own people out. So Peter Dutton is coming up, but that airport is diabolical. We saw the pictures yesterday. People are getting on planes and they're hanging onto wings to get out of that place.
And
how desperate do you have to be?
That's the desperation. Others are staying in their house waiting for the Taliban to come knocking. And you've just got to see how long is it before Afghanistan goes back to the place it was 20 years ago. And it does again, if that happens, become a breeding ground for terrorists, which means that you are once again at risk of attacks on American soil here in Australia. You've got to be asking yourself, all of our troops who served in Afghanistan, what the hell was the point?
So the thing is, though, Ali, I mean, the Taliban has shown at this point every indication that they want to be Taliban 2.0, right? They've stayed outside the city while everyone tried to get out. Now they're right at the airport, and they haven't attacked any of the planes leaving. So there's some dialogue or diplomacy going on. But how do you have that with the Taliban? So we've got planes ready to go in and get Australians out. How do you possibly ensure the safety of the crew of those aircraft carriers?